Good morning. You're watching Senior Notebook on WENY.
Hello, and welcome again to another segment of Senior Notebook. Name's Cleveland Thrower, and with me is a young man who has played basketball in Poland, and he was the first Afro-American to play basketball in Poland. And for all intents and practices matter, this young man was to Metropolis what Superman was to Metropolis. And I'm saying that, I'm kind of stretching it out a little bit, but he's going to tell you more about it. His name is Kenny Washington, and I'm going to let Kenny talk. And the first question to you, Kenny, is simply, what made you first get interested in basketball?
What made me first get interested in playing basketball? I said I was around the age of 13, 14, going from my 8th grade summer to my 9th grade year. I became obsessed with practicing basketball. The reason is I could practice alone and nobody would bother me. I didn't require any mates to play with. And I became obsessed with just getting to become a skilled basketball player. And that obsessive work ethic just continued. It was this unquenchable thirst I had to get better playing basketball. And it just went right through high school and into Southampton College, where I played there for 4 years.
How did you feel when you first found out that you're going to play semi-pro basketball in Poland?
Well, the first feeling I had was my college, Southampton, we were touring in Poland in 1976. And we had a 20-day, 7-game tour. And I played very, very well. And a coach there wanted me to stay on and sign a contract, but I had to explain that I still have a year left in college and that my mother would kill me. So I came back home with the feeling of maybe there's a possibility to play basketball in Europe. We had a teammate at Southampton that played in Sweden. So after Poland, that Polish trip, I kept working hard. And then after an unsuccessful trial with the Los Angeles Lakers, I telegrammed Poland, that was way back when, and we negotiated a contract and I went over to play. I didn't have an agent because who would represent somebody who's going to a communist country, So I did everything on my own, and I was looking to just further my basketball.
Well, okay, that's fantastic. When you got to Poland, how did you feel? Were you surprised at how you accepted when you got to Poland?
Not so much, because when we played with Southampton, the audiences really gravitated to my style of play. I have a very imaginative style. I guess in the USA, they would deem it hot dogging. But to me, it was my natural, spontaneous style that at 5'8", I had to capture the audience's imagination. So when I actually went back to play, I knew that the audiences really liked my skill level. So I was really counting on them welcoming me back.
Okay, from what I have read, I didn't get a chance to read your book completely, but from what I had read, you were you were unquestionably a superstar when you were in Poland, and you were in great demand. Is this a truism?
Yes, it's very true. It's difficult writing the book because it sounds like I'm just kind of like bragging. But when I researched the articles and I had a translator come back and help me, it was quite uh, um, evident that I was revered as a top star there, a national star.
Kenny, uh, we got more. Hold on one second, and we'll be right back after these very important messages. Kenny, at 5'8", that's like Spud Webb. That's about the same size as Spud Webb. Am I right?
You're right. I played against
Yeah.
Boston, but anyway, yep.
Did you? Did you really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
When I came back certain summers, I was in a pro tournament, pro league here called the USBL, where I played against Spud and Michael Adams and guys like that. So, I yeah.
Because of your notoriety in Poland, um, did you ever feel like you were in danger or your life was threatened because of the crowds of people?
Yeah, no, no, it was uh, crowded chaos in a fun way. I mean, there were games after where the crowd just poured onto the court and started grabbing me and throwing me up and down and hugging me. And I had a good friend that came and made sure I got to the locker room unscathed. And on the
Okay.
streets, I had to sign a lot of autographs when I was out. My translator was always with me the first year, and people would just crowd us and ask a lot of questions, and I would sign a lot of autographs. So yeah, it was chaotic, but in a safe way.
Okay. Um, did you were you able to size up your opponents before you played, or 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 did you were you able to size up your opponents before you played?
Yeah, all that you size them up while you are actually playing them. I attended War Frazier's camp when I was 17, and War Frazier he lectured to us, and he told us always size your player up early so that you can see what his tells are. Tells are things that you're going to habits that you see your opponent do that you save for the fourth quarter, and then you deke that person into doing something that you know they're going to do.
So when you get information from Walt Frazier, I mean that's classic. I mean you hold on to that. That's good information. That's certainly grits for the mill when you get information from Walt Frazier.
Absolutely. I attended War Frazier's camp one year, and the following year was Dean Memage's camp, and Dean took
Yeah.
me under his wing because I had that thirst to practice, and he saw me every day, so he started to play me a one-on-one full court every single lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
so I was the type of person that kind of stood out because of my obsessive work ethic.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Are there any things that is there anything that you can look back on now and say you're glad you did it?
Pretty much everything. I don't have any regrets. I mean, I just had 2 hip surgeries. So, I mean, all of that practice and playing at the Rucker Park and on asphalt and running and doing all that does wear and tear. However, it was all worth it. I wouldn't change anything.
Okay, Kenny, we're going to pause right now for some very important messages, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Cleveland Thrower, and we're back with Kenny Washington and to Senior Notebook. We're glad that you stayed with us because it's getting more and more interesting. Kenny, what would you tell a young boy, a young girl who aspires basketball and would like to become, uh, would like to get into the NBA? What would you tell them?
I tell them, slow down. When I was 11, 12, 13, my idols were high school basketball players. I set specific goals to make each team. I never looked to the NBA because I thought that was unattainable. So I set specific goals: junior high school team, junior varsity team. And then I was fortunate that a college coach saw me. So I was fortunate to play college ball. Never did I ever think that I would play pro ball. Not even a thought. I set up specific goals and worked to those goals. And what's imperative is you have to have a passion for practice, because games, they were secondary. Practice made my life easier. So if you don't have an enjoyment, a passion to practice a sport, uh, those dreams are far off. Goals first, dreams last.
Right. Let me ask you this, Kenny. Um, were there any days that you went out on the court and you felt like you had an off day?
That's a great question. Um, yes and no. I probably played through something called burnout. Burnout is when you are actually playing, but you're almost unconsciously playing. You're just going through the motions kind of like physically, but you're not there. I never took days off. I definitely practiced too much. I had an unhealthy relationship with basketball, clearly. However, I had to practice constantly. So there were days that I may have been not there, but I would never say off.
Okay. All right. All right. Wow. Wow. What a great answer to a question. Yeah, that was fantastic. Um, Everybody was not a fan, obviously, of Kenny Washington. Okay. And many came out to see you. Did you feel you had to give them their money's worth, or did you just give them whatever you had to give when you went
It
on
was,
the court?
it was imperative that I treated each game as though people there, it was their first time there, first time actually seeing me play. And it was my obligation to my teammates, my coach, and each fan that they see the best performance I can possibly give. So I treated it like that every single time.
Were there any games where you were nervous? Did you ever second guess yourself at any point in time when you went out on the court?
That's a great question. And in the memoir, I tackle nervousness and anxiousness. I was anxious, never ever nervous, because if you're nervous, you restrict yourself from playing imaginatively. If I'm anxious, I just want to get out there and start playing. Then I will calm down and let it just flow. So there's a difference to me between anxiousness and the nervousness.
Hey, I have to say that I am totally overwhelmed by your story. I am totally overwhelmed by everything you have said, and I hope everybody that's listening is as excited as I am. And before we end this segment, I just want you to tell everybody where they can purchase your book at.
Amazon Books is called Kentomania, a black
Kentomania.
Kentomania. Yep, a black basketball virtuoso in communist Poland. Amazon Books.
Well, Kenny, thank you so very much for this interview. Thank you so very much for all of the listeners that have been listening to Senior Notebook. I hope you go out and get the book, Kentomania. It's pronounced just like it sounds. It's written just like it sounds. And you can get it on Amazon Books.
Amazon.
And yep, and I am so excited. Kenny, thank you so very much for being a part of Senior Notebook. And with that, we will see you next time on Senior Notebook. Thank you again.
It was my pleasure.